So, hello, lovely people. Happy New Year to you all. Welcome to my latest video. Yes, something a little different for me and my channel. Though I've wanted to chat to my guest for a while now to find out what makes this guy tick and obviously get some cycling training tips on the way. My guest is a triathlete, fellow YouTuber, and much, much more. So sit back, relax, and let's meet my guest. Welcome, Ian.
James, thank you so much, mate. It's been a privilege, and I'm very excited about it. I've been looking forward to this for a while. 6 months, I think we said that we were trying to get out of each other, but yeah, really grateful to finally have a chat, mate. Shame it's in remote, not in person, but there you go.
No, cool. Yeah, so 6 months. I contacted you a long time ago, and I think back when I contacted you, I was actually looking to nick some tips and off of you for training, sort of mental health, your channel. But at the same time, I thought, well, actually, now we've waited, it's actually better to talk because I know that you guys. Well, I know I follow a couple other triathlete guys on YouTube, and everybody's been pining to do some events. So because the last 22 months have been a bit funny. So, but yeah,
that's British understatement. It's best there, I think, James.
Well, I kind of just trying to be good on the channel and not mention too much rubbish at this moment in time. You know what I'm like? I like a good rant. So, but yeah, but give us just a little introduction of yourself for those that don't follow your channel.
Sorry, dogs are barking outside.
Don't worry about the dogs.
My name's Ian. I'm 44, nearly 45. I'm a triathlete. I guess I identify myself as a triathlete these days. I'm married. I've got 3 children. One's 10. I've got an 8-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. We've got 2 dogs. It's a busy household, as you can probably hear behind me. So yeah, I've been doing triathlon for a couple of years. I've been a cyclist. God, I think I saved up for my first bike when I was 11, a long time ago now, 30 odd years. And I always thought it was a bit weird, really, because I loved cycling so much. But I've identified as a cyclist for so long, and then in the recent years picked up triathlon and just a little bit obsessed now. So yeah, that's me. I'm in terms of profession, I'm a health and safety is my kind of passion, I guess, which is a weird thing to be passionate about, but it's a people trade. So I love talking to people and the kind of the stuff that makes people tick. And yeah, I've got a YouTube channel which has been a little bit quiet for the last couple of months, and I'll explain about that in a little while. But yeah,
cool, excellent. So my understanding was your first Ironman, was that 2019 or 2018?
Yeah, 2019. So I kind of announced it on the channel in 2018 because we went to watch Ironman Wales, and the whole thing came about. So I did triathlon back in college, and just obsessed about triathlon, and kind of entered a couple of local ones and won a few and did okay. And then I got smashed off my bike and wrote my bike off, and I was kind of like a 19, 20-year-old, couldn't afford to get a new one. And then just forgot about it. Got into mountain biking, and a few, kind of ignored the triathlon thing. And I was on a sportif and did for some kind of one of those kind of chance of the fates, I guess. But I got chatting to a guy who was training for Ironman Wales, and this was kind of June 2018, and Ironman Wales is in September. And we rode together for probably it was just over a century ride. It was like a warm-up ride for him, and I was just captivated. So we went and watched Ironman Wales that year, and then September, and then by the end of that month I'd kind of found a coach, and that was it. It was all kind of systems go then for 2019. So yeah, first Ironman in 2019, and then stuff happened, and the world went crazy.
The world went crazy,
yeah. So first proper one in my new life, I guess, was the kind of big one. And then I've gone from completing an Ironman to trying to, my aim now is to be competitive in half Ironman distance. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I see one thing that I did see on your channel, there was a couple of I think you've done 4 events last year overall. That's including a 5K run that you did early doors.
Yeah, so I did a 5K. That was almost, I think that was like at the start of the end of lockdown really. So we did it was a local 5K, which was just good to pin a number on and kind of have a bit of a run with other people, and it went pretty well. And then
As Dick Whittington, is that right? Was that
Dick
right?
Whittington 5, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one. Yeah, I was racking my brain trying to think about it. And that was really good. There were a few local faces that turned up for that one that I managed to beat, and who normally previously had beaten me, so that was quite nice. But then the kind of from the triathlon perspective, last year I did Chumley in June, and I think that was like my first half Ironman trying to be competitive.
I watched the video of that. It was a very interesting video, actually.
Thank you. It was a learning. It was a chance to learn an awful lot. There was a bit of a nightmare in terms of the bike on that one, but that was a really good one from a kind of mental dealing with the unexpected, I guess. And then I did another one, Outlaw Bowood, which was meant to be my A race last year. That was in September, and then in October I did a sprint triathlon in Bristol, and another half Ironman in the Mumbles, which is down in South Wales, and that was in kind of mid-October as the last kind of hurrah for the season.
So you've done 5 then. So this is why I haven't been able to keep in touch with all this, because of obviously it's not on YouTube, but I did notice the Bowood and the Bristol sprint. They were on your Instagram, so
they were, yeah.
So don't at the end of the show, I will put your links down in the description below, so then people can give you a follow and hopefully get some more subscribers on your YouTube channel to get your arse into gear. So
yeah, I put a video out last year, and I'd been receiving a couple of and it's easy to be a critic, isn't it? But I've been receiving emails from people, and they were criticizing my training. They were criticizing. So I'd suffered an injury, and
that was the back, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I suffered an injury in October 2020, and I was off running for quite a while. And I had a kind of phased return to running. We've got a treadmill in the cabin.
Shed of wonder.
Shed of dreams, yeah.
Shed of dreams, is it? Okay,
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, sorry, no. That's just a bit of daftness, really. But yeah, I christened it for some reason the Shed of Dreams. I think that was in the run up to Wales. But so I had a bit of a phased return to running, and I went out, and one of the first sessions I did back on the road was a hill repeat session, and I pulled something in my thigh, and I kind of my YouTube channel has always been about complete transparency and honesty. And I just started getting quite a lot of criticism about people like, "What, are you so stupid to, suffer an injury and then go back and do a hard session? You're going to get injured again." And I was expecting to get injured in 8 weeks, and you've done it in 2. Congratulations, you're an idiot. And it was a lot of kind of criticism received, and it was all kind of, there was nothing in the comments, and there was nothing like, I didn't get thumbs downs, but my email address is in the descriptions of my videos. And I just started getting these emails through, and it's like, don't need this. And coupled with that, in work, there was a bit of a perfect storm, and I was up for redundancy. And we just extended the house with three children, like 3 dependents, my wife as well. COVID unknown is all kind of forming this massive thing, and I just suffered a massive kind of mental health flare up, I guess. Flare up is the wrong word, but I was.
I completely empathize with you, actually, because it's very difficult. These people, but I don't get the emails, so people can be a little bit more harsh on emails instead of, I suppose, in the comments. I get a few comments now and then. Sometimes I entertain them, sometimes I don't. But to be honest with you, it still does niggle you. Doesn't matter what is said. If you, I call them negative Nancy's, but it still does niggle you. And as you just said, as well as that, with your training, so being injured, it's going to cause you a bit of headache. It's going to cause you a bit of mental health. Then you've got you've got your emails, and then you got your work on top of that as well. So I think all of that put in together, and I'll empathise, because obviously being made redundant in April for myself, but the run up to that was lockdown too. For me, video's not about me, people, but to empathise with you, when we were made redundant, only 4 salespeople in a company out of a lot of people were made redundant. There was a lot of other sales, a European lot and all that, but then you furloughed, and that completely played with my mind. But looking back, I
Yeah.
wish I hadn't let it play with my mind, because I kind of knew where it was going. I got
Yeah, and
offered the redundancy, and yeah, so I completely empathize with you on that. So
it's a tough one though, isn't it? And that's one of the things I like about your channel, is that you're really honest about it, and you've spoken about mental health a few times. And I've always been one of those kind of stiff upper lip. Exactly. And I think if there's any good to come out of this pandemic, it's the fact that there is a lot more understanding and a lot more honest, a lot more openness about mental health issues now. And you've got big names in what's his name, Foxy off of SAS Who Dares Wins. These guys who are
there's a lot
top of
more
the tree
people
talking about it. And I think
about it.
that's, yeah, absolutely. And I've never considered myself to have that kind of worry. I'm pretty resilient. I bounce back from stuff. I feel sorry for myself for maybe a couple of hours, and I bounce back. It's like, it'd be fine. But this was a long burn, and the redundancy, the threat of redundancy for me was quite protracted. And I think I don't like talking about my home life on videos. So all of that was unknown. And then you've got some people that decide they want to criticize your training. And last year I did a couple of interview videos with other YouTubers, and it kind of, I stopped doing it because I wanted to speak to my coach. I wanted to have a bit of a chat with my coach online. He was like, look, our relationship's private, and what we do is between us, and I don't really want to open you up or me up to criticism. You've got people doing that already. Let's not give them fire. And it's like, yeah, I respect that. So that was the reason that the video stopped a little bit around June, because there was just stuff that was just too much to deal with, and something had to give. And YouTube is a hobby; it doesn't pay the mortgage. My job does. Focusing on my, and you're absolutely right, James. There was a big thing that I didn't realize until afterwards, that I had aspirations last year of qualifying to be GBH group, and I didn't achieve that because I was injured. And there's a kind of form, there's a form of grief there as well. You've got these aspirations, and you let your ego get in the driving seat, and weird stuff happens. And like, it was just all too much, and that's why the video stopped. And I've actually been thinking about it for the last couple of weeks, about, right, now's the time it's a new year, let's do chapter 2. And I'm doing some good races this year. I'm looking forward to them, and training's going well, and my back's finally getting to a point where it's okay. So
Brilliant.
Now's the time to dust the camera off and start talking crap again. Sorry, excuse my language.
It is talking. Yeah, well, and I love the fact that what is this? Is this 2022 with new goals, or 2022 and resolutions? Because I just think resolutions are there to be broken, and goals is just a pig with lipstick, to be honest, when it comes to resolutions. So
I think I read something beautiful, which was, I have daily resolutions, not year ones. And that's how I want to live my life, really. I want to, I'm reading a lot, and I want to form good habits. I've read the Atomic Habits book, and there's some great stuff in there about, people have aspirations, and they want to achieve something, or they want to, they live in a really messy house. So they tidy the house up and expect stuff to be different, but they haven't addressed the reason the house is messy in the first place, which is them.
Deep.
And
that's deep, mate.
Well, but it kind of resonates so well, doesn't it? Because you're plugging the same stuff into the machine and expecting different results. And this year is about, I've really honed in my mobility and my strength and condition. I now work with a local PT, and I want to create a better person out of it. And I think one of the things that was missing was, I was so serious about the GBH group thing that I was not enjoying the journey. And my coach said, look, you've got to stop focusing on the goal and just focus on the journey. Because if you focus on consistency and progression, you'll get there. You'll get to where you want to go. If you only focus on the goal, you'll never really achieve anything. So, yeah,
wise words.
Yeah, new year, new approach. I think new approach.
I think new approach is a good one, because I'm the same. I can't be bothered to make any goals, because you make them and you break them. It's and as you say, live every day at a time.
Yeah.
It's funny because I had all these ideas in myself, and if you look back the last 3 years, I've been doing exactly the same thing for the last 3 years, and that is trying to lose weight. And have I lost any weight? I did lose a bit of weight, but then
Yeah.
it's actually come back. I'm
So
pretty
why
much.
do you think that? Why do you think that is then? Is that
Do you
is
know
it?
what?
And sorry, I'm sorry to ask a really hard question, but
No, it's not an eye. No, go on. Why do you? Why do I think? What do I think it is?
yeah,
It do it. Is it down to the fact that one of the things is I eat really healthily, but I eat a lot of crap in between.
yeah,
And the other thing is probably down to my mental health.
mm,
Something that I didn't want to feel nervous about us meeting, because I just wanted it to be a chat, even though I was
yeah,
hoping it for the channel. But at the same time, I'm feeling a bit nervous, a little bit butterfly, and I felt like I could eat.
mm,
And then I think to myself, well, I'm not hungry. I know I'm not hungry because
yeah,
I'm now eating when I'm hungry. So today
yeah,
I had a couple of bits of toast for lunch, which was late lunch, and a banana for breakfast about 10 o'clock, because that's when I kind of felt hungry. So that's what
yeah,
I'm trying to do, is just eat when I'm hungry, instead of, and if I take myself back the last couple of years, I just haven't been in a good place.
no,
So,
no,
and if I turned around in lockdown too, when I knew that there was problems coming, I would be lying if I didn't tell you that Cadbury's fruit and nut was my medication.
yeah,
Don't
no, I
touch it
understand.
anymore. Don't touch it
No,
anymore. But it's so my idea was that this year I would lose some weight instead of
yeah,
try and smash the gym, smash the cycling. Just do little bits of gym, little bits of cycling,
yeah.
because every time you go out and do a 60-mile ride, you get back in, you just want to smash the fridge.
Well, of course you do. Yeah,
I'm diabetic as well, so my diabetes. So when my sugars drop, if I don't catch it in time, I can find
yeah,
myself. I call it my head in the fridge. My head in the fridge. So
yeah,
it's a very
yeah.
difficult one on that. You just kind of wake up while you're eating stuff, and then you end up
Like
getting
kind of,
this big up and down low for the rest of the day,
yeah,
high low, high low. But no, so on my side, I've kind of decided that this year I'll do sort of some shorter rides, and I'll try and concentrate on what I'm eating. So
yeah,
again, so eating less, but
yeah,
because I need to eat, not because I want to eat less, but because I don't have to eat more. Because
yeah,
you know what it's like. You know it. If you go out, you do a cycle ride and a run. What if you've burned off however many calories? You've still got to put those calories back in,
yeah.
because you
No, go on, sorry.
no you take over, because
You're right. I think it's not just eating less though, is it? It's eating the right stuff. And
definitely.
it's I'm very lucky that I don't like chocolate. I don't like sweets. My kids look at me like I'm a weird, but
I'm looking at you like a weird man right now.
I'm, but I never really have. So but one of the things that I've learned from going through the Ironman training and then into kind of trying to look at being competitive is that I like looking at the food I'm eating, and I guess I've got a bit of control freak tendencies. So I went through. So I went the other way. So I had a really quite nasty breakup about 2003. God, that's a long time ago now. But I stopped eating completely. So I went down to about 9 stone, I think, when me and my wife got together, my now wife got together. She looked at me as a bit of a do-up project because I think I weighed about 8 stone 12, something like that. I was really skinny, and I was, a cold only had to visit Herefordshire, and I was ill. But it was the only thing I could control was eating. So I ate maybe once every 3 days. I just didn't eat at all. So kind of diet for me, I don't overeat. I tend to go the other way, and I undereat. So it's the opposite side of the same battle, isn't it?
Yeah,
You kind
yeah.
of um, and I think it all feeds into that kind of mental health and kind of
It's so
and kind of
much.
perception of self and all those kind of minefields that you step through on a daily basis.
But there's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I always look at it as I like to look at it like a golf swing. There's so many things to get right to hit a
Yeah.
perfect golf swing. And if
Yeah.
you sat there, you wouldn't be able to play golf if you thought about all those things from
No.
taking the club back to taking it forward
Yeah.
and
Which is
striking
why
the
I think,
ball.
yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think, with something so complex, which is why it's so good to form habits. And that's why the Atomic Habit book stuck with me, because you automate the stuff that you can get wrong. So you practice it or you plan it out and then you automate it and then you don't have to think about it anymore. So, I think it was Graham Abbree said, prepare the food you want to eat before you go and do a big ride. So when you stagger through the door and able to focus, your
It's there
food's ready
ready.
for you.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
I do have a lot of Huel. So that's my kind of healthy
Okay.
shake, which is in the fridge
Yeah.
ready
Yeah.
if I'm out. But again, but there is a bit of control there needed as well. So,
Mm,
which is something that I'm kind of trying to look at this year for definite. If I can do
yeah.
one thing right this year, and that is get down to 100 kilos. If it takes me a bit longer than a year, then fine. But
Yeah.
as long as I start eating properly, and as you say, it is a thought process. Like I was saying earlier, I could have easily gone and made a sandwich, but in my mind, I knew I didn't need the food, so I was kind of
Mm,
thinking to myself, well, you don't need it, don't eat it, just chill
yeah.
out, go and have a drink of water or something. And I find that's another thing for me, is drinking 2 liters of water a day. The
Yeah.
problem I've got with that is because I'm a salesman, so I'm driving everywhere. So when you're in a car and you're trying to drink 2 liters of water a day, it's not a very good thing sometimes if you need to stop every 5 minutes.
Yeah, you get used
So
to, you get to know all the service stations. Yeah.
and the other ones that it's very on point to what you were just saying earlier. It's trying to change those negative thoughts into positive thoughts. The
Yeah.
more you can, the more you can think. As I remember a few years ago, I don't even remember being able to be positive in my thinking,
Yeah.
and that was probably my real lowest of lows. But you kind of get that. And I remember speaking to, I've mentioned Sophie on my channel quite a few times, Sophie Watson, who's a therapist, and she was getting me to sort of be grateful 3 times a
Yeah.
day, just to try and write 3 things out a day that you were grateful for, just to try and change the mindset, which is another
Yeah.
another good way. And it's exactly on that par of I kind of practice Reiki as well, so which is a spiritual healing, a
Yeah.
Japanese sort of thing. So, but yeah, no,
But you become what you think, don't you? I think if you focus on the negatives, that's what you're going to see,
you
and
got it.
it becomes it's a very difficult spiral to break. And I'm very, very lucky. My wife is, she's phenomenal at kicking my ass and getting me out of those downward spirals. She's brilliant at it.
My
So
missus
I'm
just
quite
looks at
lucky.
me and tells me, what's wrong? What's there to worry about? Because
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's probably money. Like you were saying earlier, with your work redundancy,
Yeah.
you just done the extension on your house. At the end of the day, it was probably just money
Yeah. And
that
that's
was.
and that's a and that's kind of like a sine wave anyway, isn't it? Sometimes you've got some and sometimes you haven't got any, and like you play the long game with that sort of thing.
Yeah, look,
And yeah, but I guess it's just one of those kind of modern day worries, isn't it? You want to be able to provide for your children, and as a parent or as a husband or as a partner, you put the pressure on yourself to be able to do that because you want them to have a good life. Um,
definitely.
so
Definitely. All right,
yeah.
let's move on. Kind of got into the mental health thing a bit earlier than I was
Sorry,
expecting.
mate. I didn't mean.
No,
Yeah,
no,
sorry.
no, not at all. I want to talk about the fact that yes, you're a father, a husband, a father, full-time employment, and you're
Yeah.
doing 3 sports. Where do you
Yeah.
get the time? Where do you get the time to put all this in? I know
Um,
you're probably one of the lucky ones because you've looking at your videos, you've got some lovely trails. So
yeah.
you like running off road, you like riding off
Yeah.
road. So you've got all that, but where do you make the time? I haven't got the time just to do my cycling, not alone cycling and go to the gym.
I think that it comes down, and it's that kind of like, for me, it's having a why that's strong enough. So why do I want to train? Well, I want to train because I want to represent GB at my age group, and in order to be able to do that, I need to be in good shape and I need to train consistently. So how am I going to train consistently given the blocks, the kind of immovable blocks of my life, which are home life and work. So you do it. I either do it in my lunch hour or before work. When I was training for the Ironman, I didn't really have that balance that great. So I trained quite a lot in the evenings, and I'm getting back into the habit of training early mornings now. So you get it out of the way when the family is still asleep, and then you've got time to be with them as a family. But I've got a very, very good coach, and I've always been so when Doug first started working with me, or first started working with Doug, he wanted to know about me and my family situation, and what were the drivers and what were the limitations, or what was the limitations that he had to plan around. So quite a lot of the sessions I do are pretty efficient in their nature. There's not much, there's very little fat in the plan. So every session has a purpose. There's very little in the way of wasted time. So if I go out and do an hour on the bike, it's an hour of work, as opposed to just kind of going out and bimbling without a concept of what I'm trying to achieve.
You don't mean social cycling, do you? You're not just bimbling without. That's exactly
Yeah,
what I do.
exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I train alone. It was amazing. Over Christmas, I've just bought myself a cyclocross bike, and I've been after one for probably 18 months. And I went out first ride with a friend that I used to work with, and she just bought her first road bike. So we went out for a ride and we bimbled round. I didn't have a parameter on. I didn't have a heart rate monitor on. My average speed was very low. She was puffing and huffing, and I was chatting to her, and it was social, and it was lovely. There was no pressure, but that is so unusual for me. Every run is almost like antisocial in its nature. So I don't run, I don't ride with people because I've got a plan for that session, and it doesn't fit with what everyone wants to do. So
No.
every session is an interval or a long run at a zone which is destined or designed to get me to a point of improvement.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm probably doing it wrong, mate. I probably miss out with something by not having cafe rides and stuff. It's
You don't, because there's too much cake to say no to, and it's very difficult to say no to cake.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I've got a good bunch of mates that live in Ross, and they all ride mountain bikes. And I've got a mountain bike. I'm a mountain biker. I rode mountain bikes for a long time, but I don't ride with them anymore. And one of the things that I'm trying to work on this year is actually getting out with the guys and doing a ride with them.
Out.
Yeah, because they don't care about triathlon and stuff. They take the mick out of me for shaving my legs and for wearing lycra a lot. And that's sometimes what you need. It's a bit of a grounding session.
Yeah.
And so, how to answer your original question? It's difficult. You need a very understanding partner, and you need
motivation, I expect.
Yeah, and motivation as to why you're doing it. So, and I love what I do. It's never a chore to go out and do a run or a ride. I love it. Swimming, although I'm a reasonable swimmer, swimming is a little bit more difficult to do because the sessions are generally 6 a.m. But just loving what I do really gets me out the door, I guess.
Cool. Well, I was going to talk about the bikes, obviously, because this is a cycling channel, and knowing that you've the Argon 18 is obviously your tri bike. It is an awesome bike. I'll stick some pictures up as we're chatting. So yeah, you've had that for quite a while now, haven't you? A couple of years.
Yeah, I bought that. Yeah, bought that in 2019, about 6 months before the Ironman. It was a 2018. I had such a steal with it. You have bikes that you just lust after, and I lusted after after an Argon 18. There was just something about the look of them. They just look stunningly gorgeous and fast when stood still. So I bought the E119 Tri Plus, which is their top of the range one, because I managed to find a bloke whose wife was sponsored by Argon, who'd had the bike effectively given to him. He built it up, decided he didn't have time to train, and was selling it. So I bought it for an absolute steal. And that's not me saying that in case my wife watches this video, because we're very honest about it. It was an absolute steal, so I couldn't turn it down. It's got DI2, it's got Ultegra. Sorry, it's not got Ultegra. Yeah, it's got DI2. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he spared no expense on it. I think he'd done 60 miles on the bike when he sold it. So yeah, that's a stunning bit of kit.
And you didn't hold back. You didn't hold back either with the mountain bike, did you? Because you got the full suspension transition as well. There's a
transition spur, yeah. So that's just, I mean, that's a lot of money. Mountain bikes, ridiculous amounts of money. I think that was like £5,000 or something. But it's full carbon. It's there low. So I haven't got the ability or the bravery to do massive jumps and stuff. And I spoke to my mate. So I used to have something called a YT Capra, which is a proper all mountain, big jump-in type bike. And I love riding it, but it was just too much bike for me. And I sold it to part fund the Argon. And I spoke to my mates who were very into mountain biking and said, look, what's the sort of bike that I need? You know, low, short travel, but something that's capable. And they were like, well, Transition have just released this bike. You go and take a look at it. And I read the reviews and was like, yeah, that's the bike for me. So I bought it, probably on a bit of a whim, but that's stunning. I love riding that bike. Absolutely love riding that bike. It's so nice. It just, yeah.
The right trail. I think with the right trails, it's you could, that sort of bikes, it becomes in its own element, I expect.
It does. It's unfortunate that I say it's unfortunate I've got it now, because actually it's more suited to do the riding that I don't really enjoy that much anymore. And I think as you get older, you change it in taste, don't you? So.
But now you've got the cyclocross.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of the gravel. Yeah, let's not absolutely lie. It's the winter rider for the road. And a bit of off-road gravel.
Yeah. And do you know what? I like going long and fast, and that's the cyclocross bike is a perfect. So it's a Vitus Energy CR, and I wanted one of those for quite a while, and I couldn't find one, and then I found one on Facebook Marketplace, and the guy had really looked after it. He was only selling it because he managed to get an upgrade. So I felt really lucky with that bike. And I've ridden that a couple of times, and it is absolutely amazing. I love it. It's so much fun. I'm going to have a lot of fun on that bike. But cyclocross, like you said, is perfect, isn't it? If you want to go out and do a ride in the rubbish weather in the winter, you can. You don't mind getting it a bit battered up and muddy. And yeah, my road bike is a giant Propel, top, advanced one Propel, so it's gorgeous, but it's too nice to ride in the rubbish weather.
Just won't touch it.
No. So the energy, the Vitus is is going to be my workhorse, I think. But it's good fun to ride. I went out on Sunday on it and didn't stop smiling at all. I'm very lucky, James. I've got a stable of bikes that, yeah, I'm blessed. I'm very, very lucky. So
good man. Well, if that's what you enjoy doing, then why not?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah. You can only ride one of them at a time, though, can't you?
That's why I've only got two. That's a winter and a summer bike. So
yeah, probably the best way of doing it. I think I was talking to Kate, my wife, and saying, look, I might sell the mountain bike. She's like, why bother? You'll only buy another one. So just keep it.
Yeah, you've already spent the money. Just keep it.
Just keep it. It's sunk costs now. Just leave it in the shed, and if you ride it 5-6 times a year, then you've got the fun out of it. But yeah, my true weapon of choice is that Argon. I love that bike so much.
Oh, it looks a beast. It looks like it'd break my back. I don't think I'd be able to get into the position, to be fair.
I had a bike fit on it, and if you've not had a bike fit, I'd urge anyone who watches this to have a bike fit. I went to a guy local to me and said, this is what I want to do. He did a load of range of movement tests on me and then set that bike up. And Doug uses best bike split, so that takes into account rider weight, the bike, the tires, the wind direction, your coefficient of drag, and then comes up with a power output to meet a specific time. and he said, like, you're the only person I've had to just like massively reduce your drag on because your riding position's so efficient. The guy that I went to, Andy, was just a magician, and it looks uncomfortable, but actually, strange as it sounds, when I rode the Ironman, I had the tri bars quite high.
Yeah.
Because I felt that's what I needed to do, but I supported my upper body using my core. And what Andy's done is drop my stack height on the aero bars right down. And he said, what you should be doing is lying. So just don't use your back and your core, use your shoulders and lie on the bike. And that's what he's done for me. And the position is really comfortable. I mean, I've only done half Ironman on it, so it's only like 56 or sort of 90k, 56 miles. So it's not big mileage, but it's a sustainable position, which is what you need in triathlon. But it's more comfortable than you think, mate. You'll have to have a go on it.
Maybe I'll have to lose some weight. I won't be able to get into the position because of the belly, mate. That's the problem. No. Be good to meet up in person at some point. So you obviously mentioned that there was thoughts of the channel becoming a bit more this year.
Yeah.
So we'll expect to see some videos pop up here and there. As I said, I'll stick some links in below to your channel.
Thank you.
To your Instagram. And
thank you. I think I will. It's been a scratch in my mind. It's been an itch in my mind that I've needed to scratch, and I've been trying to think about what to do. And I think, like, new year, new chapter. Now's the time to start making videos again, I think, for sure. So
cool. And you said you've got quite a few events that you've signed up to as well. So
yeah, I've got four half Ironman this year.
Good.
So I'm going to do Chumley again, which is the one I think was my last race video from on the channel. So I want to do that one again. So basically, I split, for anyone who hasn't seen me before, I split my tire about 35 miles into that ride and lost a load of time. I wanted to finish the race in 6 hours, or sub 6 hours, sorry, and I finished in 5 hours 59 and 52 seconds or something.
It was 52 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, so there's unfinished business there. I want to go and do better at that one. I'm going to do Ironman Swansea. It's the first running of Ironman Swansea, so I've managed to get in on that one. That's a race I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to do Vitruvian, which is a deferral from last year, and I'm going to do Mumbles again as well. So four Ironman, half Ironman this year.
Brilliant. Well, so best of luck with those.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I really appreciate you coming on the show. But it's a weird one, isn't it? I always find it weird talking to YouTubers because we kind of all know each other, but because they watch your videos, you kind of know everybody. You know who you're talking to. We haven't met in real life, but you're kind of easy to talk to, and we kind of know what's going on. So
yeah, absolutely. It is strange, isn't it? How you can get to know somebody having never met them before. But I think it's good. I think it makes the world smaller, and that's what we need. We need to meet people and learn things, don't we? So
definitely. Well, thanks a lot. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Really enjoyed it, James. Thank you very much, mate. It's been brilliant. It's a great way to finish the day. And good luck with that weight loss as well, mate. I'll be making sure you're keeping you honest. So
no worries. Well done, mate.
Cheers, James.
Cheers. Hi all. If you made it this far, then a massive thank you. I really enjoyed my chat with Ian. He's a genuinely nice guy. If you take anything away with you from this, is that it's not a chore if you love what you're doing. That come across really well. So thank you, Ian. Keep an eye out for my next video. I've got an unboxing, bit of an unboxing with a difference. And don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a great like. And if you have any comments or questions, please put them in the comments down below. Please don't forget, if you could subscribe, that'd do fantastic for my channel, and hit the bell icon, so then you'll know when I've released my next video. So lots of love, people. Many thanks, and I'll see you on the road very soon.